Welcome, folks. Welcome to the 28th episode of the A-Spec podcast. It's been quite the month of really awesome chats for Pride Month, talking with all sorts of wonderful folks about all different aspects of Ace and Arrow identity, Ace and Arrow Pride. Myself, I am Tai Eye, non-binary Arrow A-Spec content creator, but also a PhD student or PhD candidate by day. We started this podcast last year in response to realizing that Twitch really didn't have a space for these sorts of really important discussions around Ace and Arrow identity and intersectionality. So that's why we started the podcast, and it's been a lot of fun to run. And today we have the honor to be chatting with Nekoyasha. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I am Nekoyasha. I am a cosplayer and a sexual advocate. I have been cosplaying since the good old 2003 early years, or as the dark ages, I like to say. And I came out roughly about 2010, 2011 as on the asexual identity. And by day, I am a nuclear pharmacy technician, and by night, I'm just exhausted.
That is such a mood. I am these days by like 8 o'clock. I am ready to go to bed. It's wild.
I'm just like, oh, the sun's setting. I'm starting to set too.
Such a mood. So real. It has just been nonstop between tabling at Pride events, running the podcast, doing other sorts of things, which with the Twitch Pride Guild, and then of course somehow I've got to miraculously fit in the PhD, which, as we have mentioned a couple times, has slid a little bit in terms of priority this month.
You just sprinkle it in there where you can. A little zhuzhing.
Exactly.
And then
So the
apparently my
first,
cat wants to join us. This is
aw.
Missy. So if you see her coming in and out, that's just her doing her thing. So you get a little cat cam.
Aw, we love our kitty cams here. First question I usually like to ask folks is around, coming to understand your ASPEC identity. And I know for myself and many folks I talk to, ASPEC identity can often be a little more challenging to figure out. And many folks, many folks I've talked to around my age didn't come out until much later in life as a result, because that language didn't really exist growing up for us. How
No.
easy was it for you to realize your ASPEC identity?
Honestly, it was definitely a process because um I'm team 30 plus club. So, we didn't have this language back in when we were in high school in the 2000s. And it wasn't until I went to college in 2009, I used pansexual only because I was like, well, yes, I think people are people and pretty is pretty. Handsome's handsome. Like, I don't care what you look like. But it was still like, that sexual attraction still wasn't there. So I'm just like, that's just the word I'm going to use until we had Ask an Asexual night at my college campus's LGBT club, and I was like, "Wait, run this again. What night are we having?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's asexual night. It's for people to learn about the asexual identity and what it means." I was like, "Wait, go on. What day? Like, I have to go to this event." Like, and it was like, "Oh, it's tonight at I think it was like at 6." And I was like, "Sweet, I have no class. I am going." And the way, and this was like 2010. So I was just like, you just see a whole bunch of just sparks just going pew, 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 and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, this is it. This is me." Like, people are great, but don't touch me, or I don't want to touch you. I don't have these sexual feelings. It just, so much stuff made sense when I went to that meeting. I was like, there's other people that feel like this. This is the word. And that's when, after the meeting, I like think that 3 people that they were interviewing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, thank you guys so much, like, what resources are available?" And they're like, and this is, like, in the baby days of Avon, so that's when I joined Avon's website and the forums, and I was like, "There's a whole community!" Like, I just never felt so seen since then.
We've talked a lot about Avon, the Asexual Visibility and Education Network on the podcast. They actually started following me as well on the socials, and occasionally I see them retweeting this podcast if the focus is on
I love
asexuality,
that.
which I feel kind of honored about. But yeah, the early days of Avon and the how it came about from Zoe's a life as a human amoeba blog post is quite the interesting story.
It really is. Like, we really came from blog posts to forums to just hold like discords now. Like,
Yeah.
it's quite remarkable how fast, when you really think about it in the
Hmm.
grand scheme of the internet, like, it's not a long time, but at the same time it feels like a long time.
Absolutely. It really isn't when you think about, you know, how long, other communities have kind of had resources around. But yeah, the ASPEC identities just haven't had the same degree of language or resources around for as long.
Mhm.
Ace folks, Arrow folks always have existed, but there just wasn't the same language and
Mm.
community that, you know, there originally. So we didn't really have a way to describe how we felt.
Mhm.
Yes, and absolutely, as Hugster Duke mentioned, back when Avon started, there was not really a coherent definition of what asexuality meant, and it began as folks that experience no sexual attraction. And originally, there was a lot of gatekeeping, unfortunately, on Avon
Mhm.
as a result, and it's since fortunately been expanded to encompass a diversity of experiences which encompass little to no sexual attraction, or as I really like the way that Sharonda J. Brown puts it, folks that experience an atypical relationship to sex, something different than that of the
Mhm.
allosexual counterparts. I really like that way of putting it, is it really accounts for a diversity of experiences along the spectrum.
It
And
really does.
unfortunately, I don't know if you've seen the post on the socials, but a couple weeks ago, there was a post where somebody decided to take the ace definition and say, this is asexuality, it's no sexual attraction. This is gray sexuality, everything else, and started trying to gatekeep the
Ugh.
ace community. And I
It's
am
like,
so glad to
no.
see that so many folks spoke out against it and said, no, this is not where we're going. We don't need this sort of shit. And
Right, it's
so,
like, actually, we're gonna stop that right now. We're
exactly.
not gonna devolve back to the early days. Actually, no.
Yeah.
We'll
So
stop.
I'm so glad that Fluently A Spec, Yagura Lychee, a whole bunch of others, Lin Saga, A-Stat Advice, all spoke out and said, no, no, we're not doing this. So I'm glad that a lot of people have spoken out against that post.
Because we needed it. Because I saw that and I was like, no.
No,
I was like,
none
I'm
of
gonna
that.
let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm gonna make you stop.
Yeah, exactly. I wish that my university had had a ace night for me to learn about asexuality, because for me, I really had no idea until 2019, 2020. I start to talk to folks in the Aces in STEM Discord, and I'm like, wait a minute. Something makes sense here.
That's not surprising. Because, like, I just feel like just going to like different like colleges that I've been to, because you have friends and you want to visit them at their college campuses. Like, I just felt like my campus was not like to say they were ahead of the game, but um, definitely had the diversity, which was quite unheard of for something in, like, the early 2010s. Because, like, just now, like you said, like, I'm starting to see a lot more colleges actually have, like, education on A-spec identities, arrow identities, and I'm like, "Huh, we kinda were a little bit ahead of the game," and I'm kinda happy that it was there to get that ball turning for, like, people, you know? So I'm like, I'm not surprised because before we started gang, I was talking about, how a lot of my friends in the last, 5 years or so have came out on the asexual identity spectrum, and that's all because I've been, for years, just yelling into the abyss of, like, "Hey, guys, this is our identity. Here's some articles. Here's some vlogs. Here's some, books, and here's, like, some people. Like, here's just resources. Like, hey, happy asexual weekend." So I'm like, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, and it wasn't until I came across, Sarah Cosgriff, the Aces and STEM Discord, and really started digging into what, the ace spectrum looked like. That I was like, wait a minute, I see myself on this spectrum. Because I identify under the gray umbrella of asexuality. And so, there's a little
Same.
bit of nuance there as to, figuring that out. But yeah, it definitely made a lot of sense when it finally came together for me. And then I was like, about that romantic attraction.
Right. What's the joke? "Oh, you figured out your sexuality. Oh, now to figure out your gender identity. Oh, you figured out your gender identity? What about your romantic attraction?" It's like,
For
"Okay, I
me,
checked off the
yeah.
box."
For me, it
What
went
about
sexuality, romantic attraction, and then what's gender. But yeah, same sort of idea.
I'm definitely also in my what's gender identity now that I got my
Yeah,
sexuality and romantic, so I'm like,
yeah.
mood, same.
In brackets mentioned, it's really nice when the abyss echoes back at you.
No, it really is because it's just like, you think you're yelling to no one, then you hear a, "Yeah, me too." You're like, "What? Who said that?"
Right?
And it's like, "I hear you. Speak back." And you're just like screaming across the canyon.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been really wonderful. So the two main, uh, I guess, contributors or the two main tipping points for this podcast were, my work as a co-facilitator for a local Aces and Arrows support group. And then last summer in June, Shania Twitch.tv started a raid train for Aces and Arrows. And through that raid train, I met so many other Ace and Arrow content creators. And now I'm like, all right, I've got this, kind of uh, accumulation of knowledge and resources around asexuality and aromanticism. And now I have this group of content creators who are more than happy to talk about Ace and Arrow experiences. And I'm like, why not make a podcast and start interviewing them?
Yeah. No, that is no, like, that's such a mood, like, I love that because, like, I jokingly was like, I should start, like, a podcast," but then I was like, "Ugh, that means I have to learn audio and, like, video software," and I'm like, "I'll let someone
Real.
else do it."
Yeah,
So,
real.
thank you for doing the legwork.
No worries. I'm happy to do it. And it's been a lot of fun hosting this, and I've met some really cool people through it. So I'm so glad to be doing it. All right. So we talked about communities and resources, yelling into the abyss, activism. Let's jump into a whole bunch of stuff around the invisibility of asexuality and erasure.
Do it.
Do you want to start with that, or do you want to start with some of the other stuff around compulsory sexuality and the tool of oppression?
Let's go with that just because that's always on my brain constantly.
Sure. So we, compulsory sexuality is this all-encompassing, pervasive frustrating aspect of society where you are constantly told that you crave sexual material. You are told that you have to desire a sexual relationship. It's the fact that all the advertisers have sultry, sexually charged energy. Just all of this constantly bombarding you 24/7.
Mm.
And not only is it doing that, but it's used as a tool of oppression and white supremacy. Because through compulsory sexuality, we simultaneously hypersexualize and desexualized black and racialized folks in order to forward the narratives of white supremacy. So when we're talking about, you know, when we talk about black identity, the two big narratives that are pushed, unfortunately, are the desexualized black mammy and the hypersexualized Jezebel, something that Sharonda J. Brown delves into great detail about in their book, Refusing Compulsory Sexuality, a black asexual lens on our sex-obsessed culture.
Like,
And
whew, yeah,
yeah,
it's so true. Like bring it back. Like I think the first time I remember, uh, just anyone noticing me sexually, I think I was at least, I want to say maybe 10 or 11, and I didn't even hit puberty yet. It was just one of those. You're going to the park, you're on your bike, you park your bike, and I just hear a group of teenage high school boys going, "Oh, she gonna be real cute when she gets older." And I'm just like, "Hello? They can't be talking about me." Like, what does that mean? Like, just I'm just here. So, and then now as like an adult, me just going to pump gas is just people just wanting to get sexual with me. Like, I live in the Midwest, so winters are harsh here. So I
mhm,
am literally dressed looking like an actual log because I am just in snow pants, I'm in boots, I am in a heavy puffy coat. I look like an actual log. Why are you catcalling and sexualize me while I'm pumping gas? Like it makes no sense. And like all you see is just my face, and I'm just like, it's definitely because I'm just a black woman out here just minding my business, and they just see black women. They're like, must sexualize woman. She is there. Black women specifically. Like it's quite mind blowing, which it took me years to like kind of own. Just like, yes, I am a woman. Yes, I will be seen sexually, but also I can own my sexual being, right? And so, and it took me years to realize that, and that's when I discovered, our girl Yasmin Benoit. Like she opened the door to like, oh my gosh, I can still look hot and be hot, but I can still be asexual. Like I can show that yes, I have a black body, but I am not sexual. So see, and then now I have to read Miss Sharonda's book because that sounds like a real good deep dive read that might make me scream yes, yes, oh my god, yes, over and over. Because like even going to Hollywood, like how many roles for black women where we just see them as the caretaker mom, the black mammy, or the hot one, the Jezebel. And it's also why I really appreciated the movie Sinners that came out this year. To see a plus size, darker skinned black woman that wasn't in the mammy role and was the actual love interest, and she wasn't really that sexualized, blew my mind. Like, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, for directing and making this movie. Because I'm just like, this is what we mean by we're trying to defy the societal norms that Hollywood and societies like to put the black lens of us only in these two boxes, especially for women. Because when you look at men, they're either seen as this over athletic type and sexually desirable and nothing. Like they don't even get the sex mod. Black men are just sexualized. And it's just quite a shame. And that's why again, I enjoyed Sinners. Like you didn't see that with any of Michael B. Jordan's character. You didn't see it with any of the older men in that movie. Like it was like a good jump of trying to say, hey, this we're trying to change the narrative of how we see Black bodies now in media.
Absolutely. I have unfortunately not had a chance to see that, but I really want to check it out because that sounds fantastic and a absolutely needed change from the usual.
If you do, it's great. It's a very well done movie, and it has a lot of good like deep dives that you can go into while watching it. So highly recommend it.
And thank you so much again to Hugster Duke for gifting a sub to Caber, who was recently on the podcast. We had a good chat about Arrow Ace identity with Caber. So thinking about, compulsory sexuality, how it's used to oppress and simultaneously hypersexualize and desexualize, Black bodies. I can imagine this must be extremely difficult, for Black aces to be comfortable or understand that they can identify with the ace label if all you ever see are these two really far divergent images on either end of the binary.
Absolutely. Like especially if like with the rise of, content creation, um and the various places you can do said content creation, it's like very hard to figure out where you want to be. Like right now, the big like not I wouldn't say controversy, but like the big conundrum and like ruffling people's jimmies in the cosplay community is the sexualization that is starting to happen in the cosplay community specifically. Like, with the rise of, OnlyFans and Patreon and people needing to make out sexy content or lewd content. There's just this big push of people who are like, me, who are like, I've been in this for so long. I have zero interest in making that type of content, and I respect wholeheartedly anyone that does because it takes so much to put yourself out there like that. But also, I hate that anytime I get new followers, they're immediately like, "Oh, do you do spicy lewd content?" And I'm like, first of all, no. But second of all, why is that your first question? Like, is it because once again, is because most Black cosplayers you find are doing said sexy content. So are you automatically assuming that because I'm Black, I am automatically doing said sexy content? Or is it because I'm a girl and I cosplay, I automatically have to do sexy content? Like, I need to know where this connect is because it's not for me. I tried that once and I was like, it was mainly that's too much work and I'm tired. I'll leave that to the people who have the energy. But also, I like to just like it's so hard because like it's just not my type of content because one, I work in healthcare, um and I don't want to have like patients or even worse coworkers finding out that I do this content and them looking at me like, "Oh, just a weird side eye." Not that I would care, but it's just like, man, it's just another thing I don't want to have to worry about. And it's just
So
like also
valid.
the pressure. And it's also just the pressure of like seeing all the new people come into this community where they have to be like, oh, I have to immediately be sexual and be sexualized if I want to get ahead. I hate that I've used this context. Like, I have to get ahead in cosplay. I have to do lewd stuff. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, that's just people pressuring you. And it's not what you have to do. If you want to, yes, but it's not necessarily there, especially for Black and BIPOC. Like, they always want us to be sexual because they always just see, oh, you have black brown skin, immediately going to sexualize you. You're a sexual being, and it's like, no. I'm a person that just wants to vibe and make fun costumes or buy fun costumes and make people happy on the internet.
I just want to exist. I don't need to be sexualized. That's not.
Like that's not me. I'll save
Yeah.
that for the people that own their bodies and love being that sexual freedom because there is I only know one cosplayer that is asexual and does sexual only fan content. Her name is Stephanie Michelle, and again, she's like one of the reasons I'm just like that made me want to just explore doing that content just on like on a mild, like kind of like PG-13 boudoir, just because I was just trying to own my own body, and seeing her, I was like, wait, you can be asexual and also do sex work? I like this. Let me see. And I was like, no, not for me. But I will leave it to her and let her be that icon that she is, and open the doors. Be like, yes, you can also be asexual and do sex work, because have being sexual and experiencing sexual attraction are two different things. And I'm like,
Exactly.
I love that, and I love that she advocates for that so much.
Absolutely. And seeing how pissed off people get with Yasmin Benoit is both really upsetting, but also just
It's quite comical.
comical
Like
too.
it's like your tears fill my water bottle. Please keep crying. It's like I'm empty. I need a refill. Let me go to her comment section real quick.
Yeah, just the way that she handles those comments is absolutely hilarious.
Like she does it with such grace and such sass that I live for it every time.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
absolutely.
I was like, this is why I vibe with you, girl. Like,
Real. Thank you for the gift sub to Lore Curator Anonymous. Thank you very much. We're already up to we are now up to 32 subscribers, which is absolutely wild. Thank you so much, folks, for all the
yeah.
support this past month. It's been absolutely wild.
Great. May the growth continue.
It's while I don't do this for money, as a broke ass PhD student, it really helps me survive and pay rent and get through this PhD like no tomorrow. Especially as an 8th year PhD student with no like stable source of income.
What a we salute you.
Uh,
Because it'd be rough out here.
yeah.
Love it. Oh, someone else is doing PhD or has a PhD. Good for you too. The
Lore was,
solidarity.
yeah, absolutely. Lore actually appeared on the podcast a little while ago themselves. We had a good chat about the intersections of ace and trans identity. It was a good chat.
Ooh, I'm definitely gonna watch that one for my next
Absolutely.
drive to work. Yeah, that sounds right up my alley. I love it. I love hearing different
Yeah, it
perspectives.
was a really interesting chat, and we both went on many, many rants about the problems of academia and the institutions therein.
Oh, sweet, sweet academia. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad I'm done. I'm glad I did my time.
Yep. As soon as I finish this PhD, fleeing away from academia, I am done with it. 15 years in university is way too much. Just want to be out of there.
Wow. You've been in academia longer than you were regular school.
Right? I absolutely have. And I promise you, July, we're going to do the Ace and Kink episode, Caber.
Ooh, I'm tuning in for that one for
Hell
sure.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Cause,
I've been
cause
wanting to
I
do that
swear,
one for a while.
because those two definitely go hand in hand for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And there's so many misconceptions around kink and how ace
Oh,
folks can enjoy it
navigate it.
and be
Yep.
into it.
Yep. You're preaching to the choir. Preaching to the choir.
Yup.
Because that was a long talk with a lot of my friends, and they're just like, what? And I'm like, I ain't got the spoons for this, y'all. We'll like next time we hang out, we'll talk about it. 'Cause it was like one of those, you what? I'm just like, oh, here it goes. It's like I shouldn't have said that.
But I promise it will happen in July. June has just been far, far too busy to fit it in, unfortunately. July, July, it'll be here. I don't
I,
know. I think they're separate.
yeah, they're definitely separate because they're. Yeah, I
They're
agree.
completely
Like,
different concepts.
because like there's a lot of kink that you can do in non-sexual manner
Yeah,
and asexual.
yeah, absolutely.
Because
Yeah,
I literally
kink.
got in. Yeah, I got into kink just for stress relieving purposes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's trying to, explain to a sex obsessed society that kink is not inherently sexual can be really rough and a frustrating process.
Hmm.
So, thinking about all of this, and I know you've alluded to some of this already, how have these many, many challenges, you know, affected the way that you navigated your own asexuality?
It's rough, like, because again, like it was like 2010 is when I came out as ace, and I was like, okay, great. And then just like from then to now, it's just me navigating life and like finding out what it means to me personally. Like that's how I got into like kink community because like friends were like, oh, like you're stressed out because I was in college. Like this is like a good release. We'll go to like this club, and I was like, okay. And I'm just like, oh, if I go to this, does this negate me being asexual? Because some of this is sexual. And then hanging out with the kinksters taught me that no, like, this isn't sexual at all for a lot of people. This is just like them wanting to have fun, just
Hmm.
living out some stuff. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm still ace.
Hmm.
This is, I was like, oh, thank God, this is fine. Everything is fine. And then, you know, looking at Stephanie Michelle, and I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to try boudoir just like to own my body, reclaim myself. And then it was again this conversation. It's like, does this not make me asexual anymore? Just wanted to be sexy for myself and just empowering and talking to like the modeling community. They're like, girl, you still ace, like you just want to look hot. And I'm like, oh thank God, thank you for validating me, y'all.
Hmm.
Like it's just you owning yourself and what it means to be in your own body. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's different from attraction. I'm just like, it's all about how I'm experiencing my sexual attraction or lack of it. And it was during that fun journey with kink and boudoir modeling, I figured out I was more on like a gray asexual.
Hmm.
And I mostly just say asexual just because it's just easier when you're
Same.
telling people because
Yeah.
they're like, because everyone's like, gray asexual, that's made up, like, and I'm like, just
Hmm.
for easier sake, I'm just gonna say ace.
Yeah.
It's just
Same.
so much easier,
Yeah.
especially to the like the normal masses that are
Yeah.
still starting to like understand that oh, this is actually real now, and
Hmm.
it's like baby steps. Like y'all are starting to get it. Let me not confuse you any more than what you already are. So yeah, but like I definitely had a good time doing boudoir a lot with a lot of my photography friends and the portfolios that help expand because like a big rant I've been having in the cosplay community is the lack of black bodies in
Hmm.
portfolios.
Hmm.
Like if you go through like any type of just cosplay photographer, because I only noticed this with cosplay community, not like regular like wedding, baby shower, like all the types of photography that involve human bodies, but specifically cosplay. There's a big lack of actual black bodies, and especially black plus size bodies. So I made it my own thing. As like if I know photographer friends that are trying to get into cosplay, I'm like, if you need your token I don't mind being your token to help you start expanding your portfolio and showcasing you actually know how to photograph a Black person, like, messing with your lighting techniques that don't wash me out, make me look whitewashed, like, I recognize my privilege as a lighter skinned Black person, like, I will use that where I can to help advocate, um, and so, yeah, that's why I was like, "Bedora, I'm gonna help you guys get some some more Black bodies in your portfolio because you need this expansion." And it was through that community is how I learned, like, "Oh, this is just me owning your body. This is art. This isn't sexual at all." So,
Absolutely. There's so much that is, artistic about it. It's not, none of this is inherently sexual. People just choose to see it that way and sexualize it, unfortunately.
mhm. Yep,
What
it's a sad fact.
Sorry, I'm just trying to see what folks were talking about. Hugster Duke was saying not looking forward to the many things he has to do around the house. I was trying to see where that conversation was going. But yeah, that's an interesting point in brackets. Don't laugh. Speaking as an autistic person, they said it's my hunch that the kink scene is brimming with autistic folks who are often there for the stimming aspect.
Honestly, yeah, I've met a lot of people on the spectrum, doing kink stuff, and I think I think they're definitely onto something. 'Cause just, like, that stimulation depending on what you're
Hmm.
doing, especially when it's really repetitive, it's like,
Hell yeah.
"Ah, yes, this makes the brain go brr."
Absolutely. I could definitely see that for sure. Definitely. And the strict rules and protocols for sure can be also helpful for getting rid of the social confusion and I guess also just the anxiety that can come in social situations for folks.
Mhm. Agree. 'Cause it's just like, yes means yes, no means no, I
Yeah.
don't know means no, like, everyone always checking in every so it's just like, this is this makes me so happy, makes my
Hmm.
brain happy, like,
Yes. Absolutely. For sure. So do you want to talk about erasure of aspec identity, or do you want to move
yeah.
in and talk about the lack of spaces for black aces?
Oh, let me tell you how I wish there was more spaces for Black aces. 'Cause, oh man, color me shocked. I don't know how many people watch or care about Big Mouth that was on Netflix,
I watched it,
but
yeah.
the fact that they actually had a Black asexual 2, technically, 2 Black aces on that show made me so happy because even when I go to, like, asexual meetings, I'm probably, like, the only Black person
Mm-hmm.
sprinkled in with maybe a couple, couple Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the fact that a mainstream Netflix show had a little space for Black aces tickled me pink, and I wish that in the real world there was more, like, Black spaces for aces. Because like, even in some of the Discords I'm in and, Facebook groups, it's not a lot of us, and
No.
we're just like it's like, "Hey, buddies, where you at? I swear we're here." And the one Black ace group I did join, it kinda, like, not necessarily like it fizzled out, but like the activity kind of went stale and everyone kind of just forgot about it. And then it just like got deleted, which and when there's no activity, like
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. So like I do genuinely wish there was like more Black spaces for aces because like our experience is definitely I would say one of the more unique experiences
Mm-hmm.
compared to like anyone who's not Black. Let's
Mm-hmm.
be real. Like
Absolutely.
between my family when I came out to like some of my family members as asexual, they're like, "That's a white people thing, right?" And I'm like, "No, it's a real thing, thank you." But And it's just like, man, I wish I had other people that look like me that understood what happens here so much. So like, and part of me is like, maybe I'll attempt to revive the group because I still know the owner who made the Facebook group, and there's occasional little triplets of people, but it definitely we definitely need some more spaces because like it's something about having solidarity with people that look like you and know the struggles that you're with. It just makes being part of an identity so much better.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love being in my actual like different very ace spaces, but like it's just so niche when you find someone that looks like you. Like that's why I clung to Yasmin so hard when I found her like back in 2014, maybe 2015, right when she started doing modeling. I was just like, whoa, hold the phone. This black femme is a lingerie model, and she's also goth like me. I'm just like, I need to follow this person on every platform. And if I ever meet them one day, be like, hi, you don't understand how visibly seen I see by you. And I hope we can be friends one day. So she did follow me back when I was still using the website formerly known as Twitter. The day she followed me, I think I almost jumped out of my skin.
I can totally relate. When Avon started following me, I was like, holy shit, like the Avon started following me. I am a nobody.
See, it's like here, just type it into the abyss of the internet, and here you guys are following me, little old me. Like, what did I do to be so worthy? And then get retweeted by them and actually get interaction between Evan and Yasmin. I was just like, oh my gosh, this can't be real. Someone pinch me.
That's amazing. That is so amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
10
she's been
years.
modeling for I want to say even longer than that at
Yeah,
this point, maybe. Because I just remember seeing a news article with her about modeling in like the 2014 era. So I don't know if she's been doing it longer, but that
yeah.
was just me finding her via
Mm-hmm.
article because she was ironically modeling uh, clothing for a black owned goth fashion website that I followed, and that's how I found her because she was like a modeling a couple of their shirts, and they just happened to mention that she was ace, and I was like, oh. So yeah, at least more than I would say at least maybe 12, maybe 13. But yeah, she's been modeling for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a few other folks, the asexual goddess, your girl Litchi, and the gentle giant Ace are a few other Ace advocates on the socials that I'm aware of, but not many others that I can really, recall by name. Actually, one of the Fruity Stream Team members who appeared on the podcast recently, Mick Tastic, is Z mentioned. Z was quoted in Sharonda J. Brown's book, actually, which I was like, "Holy shit! You were quoted in that book. That's freaking amazing." Mick
Yep.
Tastic's on the Fruity Stream Team I'm part of, fellow Arrow Ace, and also a Black Ace as well.
Love that.
I'll give them a
Speaking of
shout
in
out.
bracket, yes. Speaking of black therapy and asexuality, I like that comment a lot because um, finding a therapist that actually knows is very rare. And the last year I've been in specifically grief therapy, and and my therapist is a black woman who's bisexual. And you know how you always have to do the intake forms just so they know, especially when they're like allegedly a safe space, like LGBT friendly. And when she saw that I was ace, she's like, "Oh my god, you're ace! I love that for you." And I'm like, "Hold up, wait, what?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't have many ace clients, and I love that you're ace." And I'm like, this is gonna be great because it's gonna help me like be more informed. I'm like, oh my God, you're not denying my identity. You actually know what it means and understand, like, okay, we're gonna vibe. Miss Therapist lady, we're gonna vibe. Like you're a black therapist that understands asexuals. Okay. We're off to a great start.
It is, I
Like,
can imagine just how hard that would have been to find. So, absolutely.
yeah,
Just
so like that.
finding ace affirming therapists in general
Mhm.
is hard to begin with. So, adding that whole extra element of intersectionality, it's just got to be so much harder.
Like, it's great, and, like, I chalk it up to she's also part of hashtag Team Millennial, and I feel like that now that a lot of us are in the workforce and, especially a lot of us queer folk,
Hmm.
we're making it known, like, we gotta change stuff, and I
Hmm.
absolutely love that because, like, a lot we got, like, our doctors that are like, "No, we're making this an actual safe space for people who are gender nonconforming," like, we're trying to make coming into check-ins as easy as possible for them, like, we love to see it because like even my OBGYN is very ace friendly too. Like every time I'd go in for my yearly, she's like, so I'm only asking these because I'm legally obligated. I know you're asexual, but I have to ask these questions. And I'm like, yeah, you're good. And I'm just glad you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had so many folks unfortunately mention how horrible so many OBGYNs can be for folks in the ACE community. Just OBGYNs in general, how horrible they can be.
Like I feel like I lucked out because I spent years like most of my doctors are either black women or black men. I just prefer obviously black women just because of the societal experience they understand. But like I just give me hashtag team black doctors because like I know y'all are actually gonna care about my health. And so the fact that my OB/GYN is a black woman and understands, I'm just like, I am hitting bat for bat, two for two for my doctors that understand my identity, and
Hell
I'm not
yeah.
trying to jinx it.
Hell yeah, that's amazing.
Like it's quite wild, and I'm glad I'm living in 2025 where they're like, okay, yeah, that's cool. What do you need me to know, not know? And I'm like, thank you. I feel so validated and seen.
I've only talked to, well, I would say I've only talked to queer therapists about being ace. I don't tell everybody about that. Um, the last couple that I've spoken with have been really awesome. One of them actually fellow ace themselves, uh, which was great because they could definitely understand the
Mhm.
challenges of navigating the world as a spec. One of the things that I have constantly struggled with our ace and aerospace is creating a space that Black, Indigenous, and racialized folks not only feel welcome to attend, but feel comfortable to attend. Because
Mhm.
I'm going to acknowledge 99% of the folks in that space are white.
Mhm.
And that can make it really difficult to have these difficult conversations. And folks may come once and then never come back again. And both myself and the other co-facilitator, also who's white, have struggled with this for a while. It's like, what can we do so that people don't come once and never feel comfortable enough to come back again?
Yeah, like that I get that a lot because I've definitely gone to like different types of like group sessions or just like hangouts that are catered to things. I'm just like, ooh, this is real mayo. Like this is very mayo. Cuz like they try to do the like I don't know if like can pick it up sometimes, but you know how like when people clearly say there's like black and brown people coming and they like try to like code switch to make them feel comfortable. Like they see someone black, they're like, "Oh yeah, my brother, how are you?" And I'm like, "Brother, what are you doing?" Like you didn't have to say my brother, how are you? Like you could just say like, "Hey, how?" Like there's no need to switch up your dialogue and manner of speak to fit the black experience. Like just be you. when you see like the weird like microaggressions, like just call it out as you see it. Like the amount of times people are like, "Oh, I have like hair troubles," but not like your hair troubles. And it's like you don't have to phrase like it's just like everyone has hair troubles. Like just it's like navigating that is just when you see like that kind of like microaggression, just like, hey, that that's not necessary. Like it's just basically trying to like curb the whiteness, so to speak. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so like there's so like basically don't change your dialogue to fit in. Mind obviously, but still mind what you're saying and just like be mindful of what you're trying to cater in that space. If you're going to be welcoming to all, like make sure it's like actually welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Like cuz like, obviously I have like my kufia behind me um that because, free Palestine. But like it's like if you're gonna have like event that's like say you're trying to have like um a safe space for like anyone who's Muslim, like make sure like the food is halal. Make sure you don't have like the contaminations for certain foods, and like if it's time for prayer, make sure you have like a space set for them for prayer, like stuff like that. So like when it comes like the black spaces, like it's just don't be. It just boils down to don't be racist and mind your look up microaggressions before you host anything, really,
Mm-hmm.
because
Absolutely.
that's like the biggest thing. Because like I obviously I took off work tomorrow because it's Juneteenth, um, and because we get 4 floating holidays, and I was like, I deserve to take off Juneteenth. I'm taking off Juneteenth, and then when I put that request in, my poor boss. And this is what I mean by microaggressions. He's 52. When he got my request, he's like, "Hey, Danny, what's Juneteenth?" I'm just like, and thank God I have my white coworkers because even before I even opened my mouth, my other boss, who is like 53, she's like, "Bro, Juneteenth has been a thing for at least 10 years now. What are you doing with your life?" That's what I mean. You got to clock people when you see those shenanigans happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, like, and like I couldn't even get mad because I expected it because he's a right conservative, so like I couldn't even like I laughed, but it's just funny that for someone who's 52, he still didn't know, and you think someone who's he's 52 and he's always on TikTok, and especially I think he's on right wing TikTok from the few times I heard audio. You think he would have still known just from the right
Mm-hmm.
wingers just talking shit about Juneteenth? So I'm just like, to be that obtuse is actually hilarious and not sad. It's more so hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like when you're inviting people into your space, it's important to ask like, hey, what you're doing, like what can you do to make your space more welcoming? And that's why I appreciate it. Like there's nothing wrong with asking how can I be a better ally? Just like how people are like, how can we be a better ally to the LGBT community? It's like, how can we be a better ally to the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
the Native American? Like it's okay to ask because that means you are wanting to do better and be better.
Definitely.
And I will never fault anyone for that because you can't get rid of your ignorance if you don't ask.
So true. And I admit I have a lot of things to still learn and, you know, relearn and, unlearn. So I admit that, with my privilege, as white and mass presenting, there's a lot of things I've had to unlearn over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think, one of the things that I'd like to do is reach out to some of the co-facilitators in the queer, Black, Indigenous, and racialized
Mm-hmm.
groups that we run and talk to them and see, if they have, any suggestions as well as to how we can make some of the other groups more welcoming. Because all
Yeah,
the other groups are
absolutely.
just all very white.
It's like, yeah, it's time to like diversify.
Yeah, because we
Ain't nothing
have
wrong with that.
we have a couple targeted groups. We have one for Two Spirit folks, and then we have
Mm-hmm.
a couple queer, Black, Indigenous, and racialized groups. But they're just kind of a overall queer, black, indigenous, and racialized, but there's nothing, specific, for black aces or the other
Mhm.
intersections. And I've always been like, how can we make this more, better?
Mhm.
So it's really helpful to, you know, learn and, hear these sorts of things. Absolutely. So we are about to go on a ad break here, so this might be a good time to maybe step away. I'll refill my water bottle, and then we can come back and chat some more.
That sounds good.
All right, so we'll swap over to the BRB screen, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, welcome back, folks. I saw some discussion in the chat there over the break about, the fact that I have real issues with the term safe space, because not you don't get to decide if a space is safe. Only others can decide for themselves if that space is safe for them. So I very much agree. I prefer to use the
I
term
also agree.
uh friendly, X friendly space, to acknowledge the fact that I cannot guarantee that it will be a safe space for you, as much as I try to acknowledge my biases and make the space, friendly for you. Only you can decide if it's safe for yourself.
Mhm. Yep. A welcome space or friendly space. I approve of those. I approve of both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Glad to be back. All right. So, we chatted about, the fact that there's very, very few spaces for black aces. There's very few well-known uh, ace activists who are black, and just the challenges it has, the result having to, navigate a very white ace space. Did you want to talk about erasure, or do you want to move on and talk about the many, many misconceptions around asexuality?
Oh, let's do erasure. Love.
Yes.
We love a good topic about erasure.
Yes. So Julia Sandra Decker in 2014, in her book, The Invisible Orientation, coins that phrase for asexuality, acknowledging that, uh, you know, asexuality is often not easy. I like to say it is almost impossible to find an ace in the wild unless they're carrying an ace flag or they tell you that they're ace.
Yup.
So it's very hard to, find ace spaces unless you know where to look for them. And then on top of that, you have all sorts of erasure coming left, right, and center from society and even within queer spaces themselves, in some cases.
Mhm.
And so it makes it really difficult to, you know, find community, to become comfortable with your own identity. And then you get constantly told that you're not X enough, you're not ace enough, and it makes you question time and time again. I've asked myself that many, many times. Am I ace enough? Am I queer enough?
Mhm.
Thanks to this erasure.
Yep. I completely agree. Because it's just like, oh, just when you think you found like something ace in the wild, whether it's through like books or movies or TV shows, You're like, they immediately either retcon that from the character or they don't even bring it up ever again. And it's like, mm, love that. Like my favorite thing is good old Jughead from the Archie comics. One of
Yeah.
our first like canon asexual comic book characters. And when they did Riverdale, when they first announced Riverdale, I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get actual asexual representation on live action TV show, and they didn't even bother. That like
Nope. Wrote it out of
they
the.
didn't even, they wrote it completely out, and I'm like, okay, love that. And I don't know how anyone feels about The Big Bang Theory. Love it, hate it. I personally enjoyed it because I Sheldon was my boy. He reminded me a lot of my best friend in high school, and I swear they coded Sheldon as Arrow Ace for the longest. I did not mind when he got with Amy Farrah Fowler. They were both like my, oh, these are going to be the Arrow Ace couple of the show that are just clearly just getting together for platonic reasons and to make a smart baby, because that was their whole thing when they had their interview with each other in the show. Like they're like, oh, who are you going on a date with, Sheldon? Like, oh, we interviewed each other, so we're going to see if this works out, and if so, we're going to have the smartest babies because of our intellect. I'm just like, I, I just like, this is so Sheldon coded. I loved it. And then they both kind of threw away both of their Arrow Ace identities, so I don't know what they turned it into, but like they were still cute, but it's not when they completely developed what their characters were when they first introduced them. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, that's another one to the dust.
Yeah.
And then it came to, and then why is it that Big Mouth, again, love it or hate it? I know Big Mouth has a lot of people that don't like it. I liked it just because it's funny. It actually was educational and the voice
Mhm.
acting was phenomenal.
Mhm.
When they brought on Elijah and watching him go through his journey
Mhm.
resonated, because that was like me, obviously in college, not middle school, but I was like, yes, that was me with my first like trying to date people. I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do in a relationship? Is this normal? And just watching his character go through that, and then they stuck with his character for his remainder time on the show as asexual in the identity. I was like, finally, a show that gets it.
Yeah.
And he was
Absolutely.
black, like, and the fact that it was his black auntie
Mhm.
that told him, I was like, this is it. It's like when I saw his aunt tell him, it was like, that's me educating the black youth. I was like, this is so relatable right now.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And it's like, and then you get all these other shows that are like, you're like, ooh, might they? They might be Ace, might be Arrow, I don't know. And they just never bother to go into
No.
it at all.
No.
Like, like Mr. Gold, aka Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time. He, in my headcanon, he's still Arrow Ace. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, he married Belle, but who wouldn't want to marry Belle? She's perfect. I'd marry her too. But like he's like my headcanon Arrow Ace, and I don't care that they never really defined his identity, but that's my headcanon forever. And they can take that from my cold hands. But like I'm just really wish Media was doing better with like Ace Identity, or oh, I can't even remember what show it was, but like, oh, Legends of Tomorrow. That's what it was. CW's Legends of Tomorrow. Their final season with Spooner. They just like, oh, Spooner, I think you might be asexual. And she's like, really? Yeah. And then they never touched it ever again. I'm like, guys, this was such a big thing for Spooner, and they did absolutely nothing. But of course, they had the big episode with Sarah coming out as bisexual, and her throughout the rest of the series embracing her bisexuality, because bi erasure is also very, very real. Like but also two things can be true at the same time. They gave us our bisexual identity, love that, but also in the same hand, they couldn't expand more onto the one character who came out as Ace halfway through the final season. It's like y'all were so close and yet so far. But like I need Media to do better, because there's a couple books that my friends recommended. I think they're think they're mystery novels. I have to double check, but they were like, "Oh, this character's canon asexual." I'm like, "Ooh, send me the link. I want that." And I think the only other media that I know confirmed canon asexual, actually two, is from the series Has Been Hotel. Alistair, the demon, he is canon arrow ace, and from the webtoon Lore Olympus, the goddess Hecate, she is also canon arrow ace, and I'm glad that both of those medias reference their arrow ace identity all the time, and I'm just like, thank you, creators that get what it means for this identity
Hell yeah.
so much. Although, just don't look at the fandoms for
No,
for
no.
Aspen Hotel, because like especially with Alistair, that like I cling to Alistair just because this is like one of the few characters that is canon arrow ace, right? And clearly he does not like to be touched at all. He is clearly touch averse, and I'm pretty sure he is also sex negative, I think. Pretty sure. Like, so he is peak, don't touch me, I don't want to touch you. Romance is no, sexual is no, and like it's very frustrating to see people make his character sexual and want to touch Lucifer. That's who he's commonly paired with in canon. And I'm just like, he wouldn't do that. Like there are multiple times in the show where he actively avoids being touched by people. Even the character Charlie, like he loves Charlie, but he still is like, why are you touching me, Charlie? So it's like when I see fan art, I'm just like, I think you guys are missing the point of his character, but okay. Like you can do whatever, it's fan art, you're allowed, but it's like also remember, try to stay true to his character.
Absolutely. Yeah, the shipping of ace characters can definitely be very frustrating.
It's like, yeah, characters can definitely be asexual and be on the arrow spectrum, which I've noticed.
Hmm.
Great. But when you clearly have the creator saying they're aromantic, they're asexual, and they are touch averse, like at least respect that.
Yeah.
Because like that's why a lot of people clung to Alistair, and like myself, like I am back on that good old romantic identity. Might be on the arrow spectrum, not sure yet, but we'll figure that out later. That's why I liked Alistair. I was like, this is a me character. Like he came
Hmm.
on screen and I'm like, ooh, this is a me character. Just here just to cause a little bit of mischief and chaos and just be like, okay, don't touch me, goodbye. Like what a
Yeah.
mood. What a mood.
One of the
Like
folks I talked to recently on the podcast said, I am Arrow Ace, and I'm going to make it your problem, and I'm going to enjoy it.
yes.
And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, you are.
Absolutely.
Loved that response.
It's such a true response. Like that's me. It's like, yeah, I'm Ace. I'm going to make it everyone's problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like when I went to Pride, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find the most asexual outfit I can find in my closet, and I'm gonna make it everyone's problem because I can guarantee there's not gonna be much like
No,
visible ace
no,
rep in Pride.
no.
Which color me shocked. There was quite a few floats with the
Hmm.
asexual flag, and quite a few even more surprising with the aromantic flag. So that's
Hell
what really
yeah.
threw me
Glad to
off.
see that.
I was like, oh, y'all got the ace flags. Okay, I see y'all. But then I saw the couple arrow flags. I was like, hold up now. Y'all cooking. Y'all really cooking now.
Hmm.
And then walking around Pride in my ace outfit, I had so many compliments. People actually wanted to take my photo with me, or they wanted pics. They're like, my friend's ace. Oh my god, they would love this outfit. Or I was gonna wear something ace, but I didn't think people were gonna notice. And I'm just like, this is why I'm here to be visibly loud
Hmm.
and make it a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do similarly at Pride events where I will try to wear the flag that I think will have the least representation. So I usually
Mhm.
alternate between the arrow flag and the arrow ace flag to be that one person, if it has
Mhm.
to be, who is there with visible arrow or arrow ace representation. And it almost
Yes.
always draws people over and they're like, "What is that flag? I've never seen it before." And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you."
It's like, thanks for asking, actually. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Welcome on in, Nixvale. Good to see ya. Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to notice that over the last couple years, there's been a big tick upwards in the number of arrow flags at the Toronto Pride in the last couple of years, and it's been really amazing to see because, 3 or 4 years ago, I was one
Mhm.
of the only arrow flags there. Now you can see many arrow flags in the crown. Not so many arrow ace flags, but definitely arrow flags. Happy Pride, happy Autism Pride, absolutely. Today is
I did tell
Autism Pride Day.
Happy Autism Pride
Absolutely,
Day.
happy Autism Pride from a fellow neurodivergent ADHD myself.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was today. That's
I only learned
wonderful.
that today. I learned that today. Somebody posted in the Fruities Discord. I was
I
like,
just learned it
hell
just
yeah.
now.
Yeah. I only learned that
But
this morning. Yeah, it was from you. It was from your post. Pride squared. Hell yeah, I like that.
yes, Pride Squared. Therefore,
That's
oh, we could
great.
even say like Pride. We could even almost say like Pride Q because it's also Men's Mental Health. Men's Mental Health Awareness Month too. So it's like a
Mm-hmm.
cube. We got a nice little cube going on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Love that. What a good day.
Hell yeah. And we're having a really lovely chat here as well on some really important issues.
We are like the chat is you're great. Chat is also great. Like this is such a vibe. Like what the
Absolutely.
vibes are immaculate.
I'm really enjoying this. So yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Laura mentioned I have a friend who's ace and trans and has a whole wall of various pride flags that they choose from. They
I love
just
that for them.
rotate. Do they just rotate through all the different pride flags at different pride events?
Is it one of those, what am I feeling today? I'm gonna
Yeah.
take this.
I've up to 4 flags now. The ace, the arrow ace, and as of last year, the non-binary flag.
Oh yeah. I definitely have the ace flag, um, pansexual, and demigirl flag
Hell yeah.
in my arsenal.
I dabbled with demi gender for a little while, and then I realized I don't know if that's quite right for me, so I'm kind of vibing with the non-binary flag at the moment.
Hell yeah. Like Demi Girl was one of those just casually came up in conversation with my friends because I was like, I said like, I'm kind of more like a gender meh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like I don't feel like a girl, but also why gender? I
Mm-hmm.
don't like. And then some days I'm like, do I have to have gender? Oh, I'm not feeling it. So I was like, it's kind of eh.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend joking was like, "Girl, like Danny, you not like a demi girl going." I'm like, "Hello, please enlighten me. What is a demi girl you speak of?" And they're like, "Oh, it's kind of like where you don't really feel like you have like an attachment to being identified as a woman, but like also you don't really care about your gender identity, but you still kind of have one." And I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
you're cooking."
Mm.
Give me more resources. So like right now I'm kind of floating with the demi girl and see how that works. And it's been like a year, maybe 2 years I've been rolling with it. And it seems okay. Cause like I thought like non-binary, but I was like, I was like non-binary didn't fit, and then agender didn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, demi girl.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this kind of I was like, this kind of has a ring. We'll see how this goes for a
Mm-hmm.
bit. It's like it's working out. So I'm like, this might be it, but we'll see how I feel in another year. Because what's gender?
Yeah, I know that agender doesn't work for me because for me, I feel like I have a gender, but it's not part of the binary, and I haven't figured out where it is.
Mhm.
As much as I'd
Lord.
love to say that I'm a a AAA battery, I can't.
Mhm.
Gender
It's
meh has me screaming, and I love it. That's
I was
amazing.
just I was just reading that too. You're welcome, Lore. Please feel free to use it. I'm trying to get more people to use gender meh because it's such a mood.
Nix mentioned I was a closet queer for 11 years. Had to constantly explain to my folk the men I was bringing over were my friends. Came out as bi officially last year, but this year I started to deep dive into feminine things. Ah, hell yeah! I've started to
I love
wear
that.
nail paint when I have the time to apply it, and I'm starting to get more femme-aligned clothing. I'm trying to slowly get some clothes that feel more gender affirming for work, because trying to navigate business casual
Mhm.
dress codes has been my absolute nemesis of late.
I feel that so much. Like, one can only deal with button-up shirts for so long.
Mhm. Yeah,
And it's like, ugh. It's just like, I can only do button-ups for so long. Can I have something else?
yeah.
It's like, I don't
So I have this one shirt that I've been wearing the last couple weeks, but I'm like, I gotta have more. I can't just rely on one shirt the entire time.
Yep, and it's like, this is it. This is the shirt.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm not having to deal with exam proctoring as much this semester, so I can get
That's
away
good.
with the one shirt usually because I'm only doing it once or twice a week. But I want more. I absolutely do. It's just finding the time this month to go shopping and to go with somebody because I have no idea how to
Mhm.
navigate the sizes. Absolutely. And
Bruh. Sizes are so stupid, and they're
yeah,
not consistent at
no.
all. And
Lore
actually,
said, as my spouse says, gender is a scam made by Big Bathroom. That is fucking amazing. I love it.
I feel that. Also, for anyone like going through their gender identity and for feminine things, I highly recommend buying a tiara. Like, just get a cute little tiara. You'll thank me
Absolutely.
for it. Everyone deserves a tiara when they're exploring
Yeah.
their feminine side.
Hell yeah.
And let me tell you, because growing up, I was like the little I'm a pretty princess, and then teenage years, I'm like, ew, I I was a princess, disgusting. And now me in my 30s, I'm like, you know what? I feel cute with the tiara. This makes me feel like this is nice. This is neat. Why did I not want a tiara? So like, get a tiara. It'll make you feel so much better about life. Like you're having a bad day, just pop it on
Hell
your
yeah.
head, and you're like everything's better because I have a tiara.
Absolutely. You've inspired me to maybe go try to find one for Friday because I'll be doing a trivia night with the Fruities, and then we're gonna raid into the Juneteenth cook-off as our Fruities Pride
Heck
Train
yeah.
comes to an end. So maybe I'll get a tiara for that closeout stream of the Fruities Pride Train.
Absolutely. I am always pro get yourself a tiara.
Hell yeah! And I would love to uh, meet up with you and go clothes shopping, Laura. That'd be great. Absolutely. Because
Do it.
I'm
Have a little
trying.
fashion montage with
Hell
one
yeah.
another.
Because I'm like both scared as hell to do it alone and also just clueless as hell. So,
We love to see it. I can't wait. You guys are gonna have a great time.
hell yeah.
Find all the cute stuff.
So, what are some of the most frustrating misconceptions around asexuality that you've dealt with?
Oh my gosh. Number one off the bat, just because I'm asexual doesn't mean I want to have a loving relationship with someone. Like, can I not enjoy company with someone I find special that makes my heart go boom boom? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like Like, it's just nice to have a companion sometimes, you know? And then some days I'm just like, yeah, I'm good.
Hmm.
But it's like I don't have the sexual attraction. I'm not a robot.
No,
Like, I am like, it is 2025. I am still so sick of everyone assuming that when you say you're asexual, they assume you're an unloving robot, and it's like, it's 2025. Can we let the stigma go by now? Like, it's have we not seen enough interviews or articles or the very few limited media representations we have of asexuals saying, yes, I like being around people. I am not unloving. There's other ways to have meaningful relationships with people.
not all love is sex or romance.
Exactly. Like, let me enjoy time kissing my homies on the forehead.
Hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've started to dabble with the gender queer label a little bit, seeing if it fits. Not sure yet, but I'm if I had to lean to a micro label, that's probably the one I would be most comfortable leaning in towards, but I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's
That's the
not
good thing
gender
about
fluid because
labels.
I don't feel like I ever deviate from non-binary, but
Hmm.
I I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like.
That's the thing about labels. They can always get relabeled.
Yeah, exactly. And as I say, labels are useful, can be useful. Use them if they're useful. Reject them if not.
Hmm. They are there to help reference things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the end all be all, contrary to popular belief.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They are approximations of a experience that cannot be fit into a box.
Hmm.
They don't account for all aspects of one's lived experience.
Exactly. I agree, Huckster. Give me a label for the label for the label.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
I raise your label with another label.
The map is not the territory.
Love it here. This is such I love it. This chat's great. Like, I don't think I've ever seen such a fun chat in a while.
this is this has been one of the greatest chats that I've had. Absolutely, it's been so lovely. All the all the discussions we've had today, and the fact that I've been able to be more comfortable, kind of exploring, gender more on the podcast now as well,
Mhm.
and those intersections has been really nice.
Yes, love to see that.
Yeah, here's a label with an asterisk. I like that.
I like that too.
So, speaking of not all love is romance and sex, a metanormativity and allonormativity. Those are two things that are extremely frustrating as an aspec individual.
Sure is.
Yeah. So, to remind folks, a metanormativity is the assumption that everyone desires to be in a coupled romantic monogamous relationship. And allonormativity is the assumption that everybody experiences sexual attraction and desires to be in a sexual relationship. And you can see why that's particularly problematic for the aspec community.
It's like, no, I don't want to get married and get the white picket fence and
No,
live out in the fields.
no, none of
Like,
that.
no, it's one of those. If I get married, that's just a bonus of life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here to have a good time, and if I find someone, neat. If not, that's also great
Yeah,
because also, what do you mean I have to look at someone for the rest of my life?
right?
What do you mean I have to wake up next to you and be like, you're still
Yeah,
here?"
yeah,
Like, to quote Whoopi Goldberg, she said something about she doesn't want to get married again because she doesn't want to wake up to a man in her house every day. And I never felt so seen in this statement before. Like, obviously, just person because people are cute, people are great, but like, I was like, she's spitting facts. Like, what do you mean I have to wake up? I don't want a man in my house. Me, what do you mean I have to have someone in my house every day? And then like, granted, I'm not poly, but if I was poly, what do you mean I have to have multiple people in my house every day?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm good.
So there are aspects of relationship anarchy, which is not polyamory, but there are relationship of kind of aspects of relationship anarchy that I do find useful when thinking about my own relationships in my life. Are you familiar with the concept of a relationship anarchy?
Yes.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot in the chat here. I have commands for it because we talk about it so often in chat. How
I
many
love that.
how many Twitch channels do you know of that have commands for relationship anarchy?
You know, I think I don't even know any.
Now you know one.
Woo!
So, just as a reminder, it's an anti-hierarchical relationship philosophy with which actively rejects the societal norms around relationships. Don't Relationships shouldn't have to conform to what society dictates they should look like. Relationships should be defined by those in that relationship, whether it happens to be romantic, whether it happens to be sexual or not, whether it's platonic, queer platonic. You decide what that relationship looks like, not society.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the main idea of relationship anarchy, and that's why I really kind of like it, because as somebody who's arrow ace spec, my relationships are going to look very different than that of the average person in society.
Correct. Because it's not cookie cutter at all, and especially with like what each relationship needs, like it's what you're giving to that person or persons is going to vary
Mm-hmm.
in between. Like there was a point where I was in a queer relationship where I just specifically like the two were already committed, but we all three of us had a deep fondness for one another, and I was just like, I'm just here for the cuddles and the forehead kisses and the hand holding. I love this. Y'all can do whatever. So that was our nice little thing that we had going on. I was like, you guys can do the sexy stuff. I'll just be over here when you do that. Like that's fine. And it was great. Like it worked out really great. And then I was just like, I got my fill. I'm gonna go my own way. Let's still be besties and catch a movie in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And that's really what it's about. You define what that relationship looks like. You define the boundaries of it. If it's not working, talk about it and make some changes. Kaber
Like,
mentioned that sounds so incredibly ideal. They also love physical affection but don't want to be locked in with someone.
yes, like that. Agreed. Like I just like I'm not much of like I found out in recent years because yay therapy for going through fixing my life together, that I thought I didn't like physical affection. No, it's just because I didn't get much physical affection. And now I'm like, this is why I'm starting to open up and love hugging people more and just wanting to just be ooh woo cutesy. And I'm like I just cuddling is so nice. Just on the couch in a blanket or just walking around the park, just like give me your hand, let me give it a little squeeze. Like it's so nice. Like I just
That
want to
is
do
such
cute
a
stuff.
mood, Kaber.
Oh my god. Yes, especially with the ADHD factor. What a mood. Yes. Like, oh man. how it all signs I should have known I was asexual in the past. Speaking of that, getting bored while making out. When I was first having like my first like actual sexual experience with my first boyfriend, because I was like, it was going through the motions of, oh, this is what you're supposed to do in your relationship. And like, granted, I did feel ready, but like as we were being intimate, I literally got bored halfway through, and I'm just like, what else could I be doing right now? And I'm like, oh wait, you're losing your V card. You should be focusing on that. But also, how long have we been doing this? I'm bored. And like, and it was like it was like that for a couple of years. I'm just zoning out. And then we had the meeting at my LGBT club where they had asexual night, and I was just like, oh,
Oh.
that's what this is.
Yep.
And like, that's when I had the long talk with my then partner. I was just like, I don't mind being sexual for you, but I think I might be asexual. That's how
Mhm.
that conversation
Mhm.
started. And he was thankfully he was understanding, but he was just like, so that means we can't do it much anymore? I'm like, correct. I only did it because I thought that was what I was supposed to be
Yep.
doing.
Yep. Yep.
So then obviously we weren't together, but like it was nice that he understood.
Yeah, absolutely.
But dang, that ADHD comment, man, I should have known it was the ADHD. Love that.
Laura mentioned they're a very affectionate person, but they also hold back because, folks can confuse it for more. And that is why you
Mm-hmm.
should communicate and talk
Communication is
about
so key.
boundaries.
I think we were laughing at the same comment, probably.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, like it's very cute because like my best friend, he identifies as a gay man, but he is a hugger, and I absolutely adore that he's a hugger so much. Because like anytime we hang out, I'm just like, Bessie, come here, give me my hug, give me a hug. And he's like, okay, and he just immediately big bear hug, head on my head. And I'm just like, hee, this is great. And everybody's like, don't you think that's weird? I'm like, no, this is just how he is. He loves to give hugs, and if you tell him, hey, don't hug me, he's like, that's fine. It's just the way he shows his affection. Because everyone always confuses us. Like, I thought he was gay, but he's always hugging you. And I'm like, that he just likes to hug. And and I love getting hugs. Like, we're
Hmm.
just best friends. Like, we communicated this that the hugging is literally just a hug.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be any more. It doesn't suggest anything else. It's just people, unfortunately, interpret it otherwise in
Hmm.
broader society,
And it's like I had
unfortunately.
to it really is because I had to have that conversation with someone because again, like I like cuddles and I like to hold hands, and I always have to preface like I don't want anything from this cuddle. I just want body heat. And
Mm-hmm.
you're warm. And
Mm-hmm.
you are warm. Please don't take this the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's always like either disappointment or understanding. And it's quite comical when it's disappointing because it's just like, bestie, you knew I'm ace. What were you expecting?
Right? In brackets mentioned it was about ace folks and those expectations, and compulsory sexuality might theoretically create a situation where ace people could avoid physical affection. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, 100%. That was me for a
Absolutely.
long time too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like it
And
was one of those, I don't want anyone to misunderstand me. I'm
hmm
just like, "Mm, I'm not gonna touch you. I will give you a nice firm handshake."
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you the goodbye hug, a what
Mm-hmm.
to say goodbye or hello, but that's it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
expect anything more. Nada más.
Exactly.
And then recent years, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Give me my hug, bro.
Yeah. Yes, so true, Caber. So true. Good to see Pseudo Suga. I was impressed when I saw that username in the chat, because how many times do you see the scientific name for Douglas fir in a chat? Not very often.
Not often. Not often.
I'm waiting for the scientific name for Western red cedar, which are some of my favorite trees, to show up in the chat.
Love that.
One day we'll entice the Western red cedar to appear. Good to see you, Pseudo Suga. So, kind of building on these themes of allonormativity and amatonormativity, there's kind of two parts to this question. How does your lived experience as a spec individual, how has it influenced the relationships you've been in? And the second part is, what have you learned from by being in those relationships?
It's definitely been such a learning curve. Um, because my first real relationship was like when I was still identifying as pansexual and not realizing, buddy, you're on the ace spectrum. And just trying to, like, again, to the backtrack to the whole I got bored while we were intimate. I was like, I shouldn't be bored during this, but I'm gonna just, like, we're just not gonna address it and then that meeting happened. I was like, oh, okay, now I should probably address this with my partner. And then fiance at that point. I was like, hey, we gotta talk about my identity because I feel like I'm not living my actual truth with you, and you deserve the truth. So we had like a really long conversation about like how I've been feeling and that like yes, I was still happy in the relationship, but like the things I was doing, I just always having to be sexual with them was just like it felt like an obligation, and I hated that. It felt like I was being like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, let's go right ahead. And then ultimately that's kind of why we ended our relationship. It was just he understood and he respected it, but it was like his I felt bad that I couldn't give him what he needed, so we just parted ways. And then that came to my second relationship. Right off the bat, I let him know that I was asexual. And he's like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like he was clearly allo, but he's like sex just isn't a big deal to me. So that worked out really great for us. Like anytime he did feel like he wanted sexual needs, we would talk. And I was like, yeah, I feel comfortable, or no, go do what you think you need to do to release. Like I never met someone that was so understanding that was allo. And this was like, I want to say like 2013 to 2016. So it was very strange to have a partner that was like understanding about that a lot. And then ultimately we just grew apart, which is fine. We're still good friends now. Like he got married like last year and has his first kid, and I'm just like, look at you. See, this probably would not have happened if we stayed together. Cuz like yeah, we talked about a family, but like I don't think it would have happened in the timeline we both were thinking about. So I'm so happy that he's living his best life with his family now. It's so great. And then that comes to the relationship I just got out of last year, where I was finally in a relationship with a fellow A-spec person, which was honestly a great relationship. Like they identified as demi, I was ace, and we're just like, holy crap, is this what it means to be in a relationship with someone that gets it? It's like it felt like no pressure. Like we didn't have to be that awkward, like, oh no, are they gonna ask for the sex? And I have to be awkward about it. It was like we were just enjoying our time together, eating chicken wings and watching anime and just going to conventions together. Like it was just so nice to have that clicking going on. And it's just a really good time. And now I'm just enjoying life single. And I feel like this is a good fit for me because like after that I had like my little queer quasi platonic stuff in between, which is nice, but I'm just like ultimately like, I'm happy vibing by myself. This is good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Laura mentioned their spouse is Aloe, but they were very open with them from the beginning about being aspec, demi more specifically, but also open to non-monogamy if they needed more of that sexual intimacy. I know that
Yes.
Ace Dad Advice has talked about that as well, that they have a similar kind of setup with their partner where they're open to a non-monogamous. I think they're actually in a poly relationship for similar reasons.
That was kind of like similar to the throuple I was in. I got what I need for cuddles, and she was with him so she could get her sexual needs, and
Hmm.
it worked out great, and like it was just so great. It was just like I just want to be by myself because I'm a happy camper.
Hmm. Absolutely. I've
And that's why I'm like,
definitely,
ooh, maybe
yeah.
I'm on the arrow spectrum.
Hmm. Definitely. I've certainly found that I I could theoretically see something like a QPR being up my
Mhm,
alley. I do enjoy, some emotional closeness, but it's not necessary. So for me, it would be something, if it happens
mhm,
organically, kind of at some point, great. If not, I'm not too worried, kind of
mhm.
thing. I'm perfectly happy just kind of, existing in amongst a bunch of different Ace and Arrow communities, and that and is
Yeah.
more than enough for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm the same way. I'm just like, if it happens, it happens. If not, that's cool.
Thanks for the pronoun check. I'm they, them. I'm non binary Arrow Ace spec myself.
And I am a they, she, demi girl, panromantic ace. I love it. We love the pronoun check. Everyone,
Absolutely.
give me
Always,
more pronouns.
always.
I want more pronouns in these
Yeah,
comments.
always important to ask. Absolutely. Don't
I
just
think I
go up to
told.
somebody and sir them in the Tim Hortons like everybody does to me, because I get so frustrated with that.
The last 5 years I just been defaulting to they, them, theirs if I don't know, because I'm just like I
Same.
will get corrected because you
Yeah.
can't go wrong using the neutral terms.
Hmm.
Because in my book, everyone is a they, them unless I'm told
Yeah,
otherwise.
I that's how I've sort of operated now. If I'm not sure, I will use they them, and then I will be corrected if that's not correct.
Because I have yet to see people get mad at me for using they, them on them when I don't know.
Unless it's a Trump supporter, maybe.
Yeah, my boss. So I do it on purpose. I do it on purpose to my boss, and it's so because it's one of those he doesn't realize it until like I keep perpetually using them and their, and then he's like, "Wait a minute!" And I'm like, and my other coworkers are like, "You're so slow."
That's amazing.
Like, there's only 8 of us in the lab, right? And it's mostly femme dominated with 4 men out of, so actually 9 of us, like so 4 men, 5 AFABs. So it's just like really funny and he's like the only lone out and open Trump supporter. So it's so funny watching him get clocked or frustrated. And it's even funnier because like I'm the only black person, everyone else is white, 50 shades of white. So it's even funnier when I like clock him because he's just like doesn't know how to handle it at all. Like, especially when I made a DEI hire joke at him, and he didn't know. It's like, I don't know what we were talking about, but it was something about, "Oh, yeah, keep up with your jokes, Neko, or else I'm not gonna give you a bonus." And I'm like, "Damn, you're not gonna give the DEI hire a bonus?" And he's like, "Well, well, no, no, no." And I'm like, I'm like, "Bro, I'm pulling your strings. It's fine." So, like, it's so funny. Just specifically for him, I out of sheer hilarity using they them on him until he notices, and it's so funny.
I love that. That's
Ooh.
amazing. I was at a queer life fair yesterday, tabling with the organization I run the Ace and Arrow group at, and I was glad to see that we finally have some neo-pronoun pins that we were handing out.
Love that.
We don't have all of them, of course, but we started to collect some neo-pronouns, which I'm very happy to see. Because I've met so many folks in the A-spec community who also use neo-pronouns, and so I'm very much aware. It's like we desperately, as a queer organization, need to get neo-pronoun pins.
Absolutely, because like we gotta expand that so much. So I think the first time I like used like the Zizim Zur was I want to say I think like 2012 was when I first started hearing that, and that was at my university I was at, and I was just like, I
Hmm.
like this. This
Mm-hmm.
is nice. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can get behind this.
Yeah.
And then like 5 years later, more people start using. I was like, oh my god! So this is real. I love it. This is actually a good thing. Cool.
Yeah. I I really like they don't they don't work for me, but I really like the fey, femme, fair pronouns. I know a couple folks in the
Those ones are
fruities that
so
use them.
pretty.
Yeah.
The Fae ones are so pretty.
Yeah. I know a few folks in the fruities that use them. They're great.
Like I love it. It's just like little Fae, you're so great.
Oh, I totally forgot you used fey pronouns as well, Lar. We got Quartzy, who's appearing on the podcast tomorrow, that uses fey femme pronouns.
Awesome. Like I don't know what year they started using the fair, but I'm so happy it's a thing because it's just so beautiful to use.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is such a good
Yes.
point.
Yes. Just like the Fae, it is very perfect for eclectic. Yes.
I've definitely used fey to generally, like, describe a group of queer folks before, all the
Mhm.
fays.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Listen, I'd even argue say that people who are ace are part Fae.
Yeah, I totally agree on that one. I do agree. My identity and interests are very eclectic as well. Yeah, so true. There is a stream team called Fae and Fauna. I don't know if it at all is related to the pronouns or not. I don't think so, but maybe.
What if it's both?
Maybe it's both. Yeah, it could be. There are definitely folks. There are definitely 2S LGBTQIA plus folks on the Fae and Fauna by far, for sure. But I don't know that stream team super well. I know a couple of. I think a few of the Fruities recently joined them as well. But for folks that aren't aware, Fruities is the stream team, one of the stream teams I'm a part of. It's the one I most closely associate with. The founder, Ghostline, is a fellow A-Spec herself, and they represent a team of openly queer content creators and strong allies that advocate for the 2S LGBTQ community through strong queer representation and discussion of important issues like we're discussing today. And they have the cutest emote, the Fruities fruit bat here.
Cute. We love a little fruity fruit bat.
Absolutely. It's so cute, isn't it? I think we may have just, I don't know, we've got a couple minutes before ads are going to kick in. Do you want to take one last quick break
Yeah,
and
let's
then
do
come
one more
back and
thing.
talk about Ace and Arrow Pride?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. So let's go on another quick break, and we'll be back in a few. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around through the break there. Been such a lovely chat that we've had, talking about everything from asexuality to a little bit about, arrow identities, lots about gender, lots of discussions of various types of intersectional identities. And I want to finish by asking, what does Ace Pride mean to you?
So for me, honestly, it's a good sense of camaraderie and friends, because contrary to, how they say, oh, we only make up like 1% of the population, the amount of people I've met in the last 5 years that have become friends in my own friend circle is astronomical. Like they're either ace or somewhere on the A spec. It's like mind blowing that me just going to like a friend's house just to have like movie night and just casual talking and me just rambling, oh, like, oh yeah, no, I'm asexual. And someone's like, wait, you're asexual too? And you just like zinging off of one another. It's absolutely beautiful because for the longest time, I felt like I was just the only one, especially locally. But now that I have found a whole framework of people in like my home state and within the Midwest in general, it's like this camaraderie is beautiful for asexuality for me. That while we are the othered still regardless in the whole of the LGBTQIA like community, like we're still othered, but our little community is so niche and so loving with one another. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing to come to learn how many folks I know are actually ace or A-spec of some sort after, mentioning, hey, I'm ace, I'm arrow. And they're like, oh yeah, me too. And I'm like, what? There's actually so many. What's wild and also so affirming is how many folks on the Fruity stream team are ace or aerospec themselves. I don't know of too
Mhm.
many other stream teams on Twitch that have so many folks that are A-spec. And it's so wonderful because I've interviewed so many folks from the Fruities as a result on this podcast.
It's like I feel like this has been the most welcoming community to just from the amount of people just wanting to give resources, educate, and just be there for people who may not even be A-spec, but just wanting to just openly learn about what our identity is. It's so nice. Like especially like I mentioned earlier, like the me just advocating and just teaching people about asexuality, the amount of friends that have like you taught me something new about myself that I never would have really deep thought about and came out as either demi, gray, or just asexual or arrow ace. Like it warms my heart and lets me know what I'm doing is right, that me just talking about it, bringing up articles, bringing up literature, bringing up like different types of podcasts and forums that people can engage with. It knows that I'm doing something right. It makes me so happy.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there. Like, this is one way that I show a spec pride is by creating these spaces, having these sorts of discussions. Because these sorts of talks, these sorts of spaces have been so integral for me to learn about my own identity. And if it weren't for the group that I now help co-facilitate, I certainly wouldn't be anywhere near that I where I am today, and understanding and being comfortable with my own identity.
Exactly. Like especially in the cosplay community, like th- this is the community where I learned that I was not straight. I was not my gender. This is not my roommate. Like the cosplay community has always been so friendly to queer people and just great for identity. And anytime like I post online of like a costume and put like, hey, this is me, your asexual cosplayer, the amount of hits I get from people is pretty sweet, honestly. And people going, wait, you're ace and you cosplay, instant follow. And I'm like, wait, you also cosplay and you're ace. I am also following you, comrade, because we're friends now. Like, there's not a lot of us, especially in this community. So come here, we're friends now.
Absolutely. And also greatly appreciate Momo as well, who's a fellow cosplayer.
Yeah, shout out to my homie Momo for hooking me up with you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? There's a whole podcast? And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, they really want to reach out to you. And I'm like, have them email me right now.
Well, I'm so glad that Momo helped facilitate this and helped me reach out to you, because it's been such an amazing time chatting with you today.
Yes, like yeah, like Momo speaking of like asexual cosplayers, that was how I met Momo, was through cosplaying and through a mutual's wedding. We were just talking about stuff and they mentioned offhand that they were on the ace spec and I was like, "Wait.
Mm.
Now we really have to be friends."
Yeah.
Like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "I too am the asexual and cosplay." And we're like, "Bestie."
Hmm. I hope that do come across more aces in the wild. It can be really hard, as I've said many times, many times on the podcast. It's difficult, but being that visible person, you will eventually have another ace come up to me and be like, "Wow, another ace in the wild." So keep at it.
Absolutely. Wear your pins, wear your fun shirts, have something with just the colors. Like you'd be very surprised that people will be like, I recognize that. I see you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Momo's got some absolutely amazing costumes.
Like, please, yes, absolutely check out Momo's cosplays. They're so cute. I can't wait to cosplay with them. Like the whole time I've known them, we've only cosplayed one thing together and it's a tragedy.
Only once.
Yeah, it was Clannad, this anime Clannad. That's what we did, and like ever since, it's just our paths have not allowed us to convene again to do something
Ah,
together. But we're trying to figure out something,
yeah.
new, whether it's in
Hopefully one
person
day.
or a digital collab. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
trying to do
absolutely.
something.
Absolutely. I had the opportunity to meet Momo last summer, which was absolutely amazing.
Awesome. They're so cute in person though. It's just like, and
Yeah.
they're a fellow shorty like me. Like we're both under the 5'5" king, and I'm just like, I'm glad we're both short. Because everybody, like, anytime people meet me in person, I always warn them, like, I am short. I am 5'3" on a good day. Depending, it's 5'2.5", 5'3", and I'm just like, I'm short, and then people still get shocked that I'm short, and I'm like, what don't you get that I'm short? So when I met them, I was like, "Oh my god, you're short like me."
They were on the podcast a little while ago themselves.
Yeah,
In the
I
chat.
saw.
Episode 20, if you want to go check it out.
Bet. Gonna put that in my queue.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for chatting today. Is there anything
Thank
that we missed?
you.
Is there anything we missed that you'd like to talk about?
Not that I can think of, but like I say in everything that I go on, support your local Black community where you
Hell yeah.
can.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not always monetary you have to do. And obviously, you don't always have to show up to protests. Like, even just sharing articles to stuff, sharing other creators that speak about like Black issues. Like, there's so much you can do that doesn't involve uh, being there physically in person because we got our immunocompromised people, disabled, like where you can't do that, or you have jobs where it's not safe for you
Mm-hmm.
to go out and protest.
Mm-hmm.
And also, times is rough in this economy where we all can't give
Absolutely.
money, but like there's so much other things, like especially there's so much literature out there. Check out your local support your local libraries.
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
please, like, get that Libby app. You'd be
Hell yeah.
surprised at what your library cart can give you, especially when it comes to like Black literature.
Yeah.
Um, there's just a lot you can do. Just like sharing a simple link, you never know who it can resonate with and change their life.
Absolutely. Very, very good point. Absolutely. Thank you so, so much again for chatting today. At this point,
Really, thank you.
yeah, we should, guess we'll go on a raid here and send this lovely community over to the Bulba boy who's currently on the Fruities train as we speak.